everybody's probably watched the Mike Tyson, Jake Paul. So we'll talk about that from a commentary standpoint on Blackout, probably.
Yes.
From a business standpoint, peaked at 65 million viewers. By far the most watched boxing match ever, and one of the most watched sporting events ever. Actually beat the NFC Championship game, beat the NBA Finals.
Every game combined.
So Netflix.
That's crazy.
The entire finals, yeah.
Netflix definitely, inserted themselves as a major player in sports off just that alone. And, kind of the writing was on the wall for a long time. We had this conversation a few years ago that, streaming services would potentially be the major player in sports, as opposed to now it's like on the fringe. You have like Peacock that shows some games, and but still most games are shown on ABC, NBC, ESPN, right?
And Amazon Prime, so they got every Thursday night game.
Yeah.
But okay, from a business standpoint, how does this impact Netflix going forward? And from a stock standpoint, is this something that people should think about as far as investing in Netflix stock, which is actually up $20 today, and
killing,
up almost like 85% for the year, from its low to its high. As low as 454, its high around 850. So Netflix has done well for a very long period of time, and looks like it can continue to do well. So what's the deal?
I know a lot of people on Twitter that I was talking to was like, well, the fight glitched, so I'm out Monday. I want to short the stock. I beg you not to. Mistake. Put mistake in chat if you're going to short that. Like, to have 65 million people watch, those are Super Bowl-esque numbers in the early 2000s. Amazing return on investment. Like Rashad said, we'll talk about some of the lessons in it on Blackout, but Netflix is probably the media stock for this generation. Netflix and YouTube. I wouldn't short it. Probably it's going to hit 950 by middle of next year if it stays at this pace. And if you look at how they're lining this up with the addition of Monday Night Raw, even if you're not a wrestling fan, they're going to draw a big audience. Then they're going to have the Christmas game for the NFL. Well played. This reminded me a lot of when 50 told Ja not to do melodies, and then 50 came in and did the melodies and helped take down Ja's career. I think Netflix has done a brilliant job at destroying linear television and then turning their platform into a better version of linear television. Monday through Wednesday, you can watch whatever you want to on demand. And even though there were some glitches, problems are going to happen when you have that many people watching on the platform. But I guarantee they will have this fixed by the Christmas game, by the time Raw comes out. So I'm super bullish on the stock. And if you short it this morning, a Spiritu Santo. I'm so sorry. Shame. Mistake.
Yeah, I don't think you should go anything near a short on this. It's interesting when you think about the number, 65 million people watching. That's just the subscribers, right? But like that doesn't take into account that those people might be watching it with somebody. So technically, you could have had over 100 million people, which you probably did have 100 million people watching. But it's interesting to see the next move, right? So what Jake Paul and his team has done has changed boxing forever, right?
Brilliant.
Now the Floyd McGregor fight is like, there's not going to be a fight that you can do on pay-per-view that's going to surpass 65 million. Just not going to happen. And so what does boxing look like, but what does all sports look like? Because yes, you said the Christmas game, but if you watched yesterday, hey, not only are we doing Christmas games, but we got a halftime show now.
Yes.
So now Beyonce is your halftime performer on Christmas. We didn't even, like these, you can start to see the writings on the wall for how sports are going to be looking in terms of streaming. Who's the next league? What's the next conference that they get, right? We had this conversation in text. It was like, does Netflix now say, okay, we've got the NFL. Do we now go to college? Do we say, hey, we're going to get a team that we now put there and exclusively on? Or is it, I guess, or a conference, or is it in basketball? They already got WWE with the Endeavor, like you said, Monday Night Raw. So they're strategically doing it. in a manner that just makes sense, right? Linear television, people are not watching it the same way, right? When it's just, and it doesn't matter what sport it is. I thought this year's World Series would be something very interesting. Obviously, we're having Japan's population, obviously with Shohei Ohtani being there. But even that was a little bit underwhelming when I looked at the numbers. Like 15 million people watched it. Imagine that being on a global platform like a Netflix. So I'm interested to see which sports league will be the next one, or what singular event will be the next thing. They start with Christmas. Amazon did it last year with the playoffs game with the Chiefs. Let's see what happens here. Disney might start to step in. Obviously, they have ESPN already. Who's going to start making exclusive deals with teams or conferences or leagues? That'll be interesting to see.
I mean, TKO has WWE and what other big entity in that bundle? It would have been nice to see Johnny Bones Jones kick that dude's rib cage into another universe on Netflix. Because if you look at it, if it's like $14.99 for all the movies you want and sporting events, that's a hard price to turn, or $24 a month. What the price is incomparable at that point. So I think they're doing a great job. I know Disney's pushing for the Wednesday game. So we're having a lot of tech and media wars. But as far as linear television, all that entire sector of stocks, I would not touch.
Well, does it now? Is it an opportunity loss? Like you bring up the John Jones fight, and I mean, congrats to him. Probably the best of all time,
greatest of all time.
ESPN's under that umbrella when you look at who did the pay-per-view event for it, but you have over 250 million subscribers alone on your platform. And so does that now change the model? I know he said he's not going to fight again unless the money makes sense, whether he wins or loses, which is like a boatload of money. But UFC's partnership with Endeavor might get in the way of that. But it's an opportunity, right? Go where the people are. If there's, and we've talked about this streaming war and where Netflix is at, where Disney's at. They're getting closer in terms of amount of subscribers. The people are there. Bring the events to them directly.
Absolutely. You think the NBA shotty should go to Netflix, or a team, or maybe All-Star game? What do you think about that?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I feel like most people have Netflix anyway, so that's kind of like regular TV.
Yeah,
that's why so many people watched it, more so than people Peacock and Hulu, like those that aren't as big as
Paramount
Netflix.
Plus.
Yeah, exactly. So everybody has Netflix. So you know, it's one of these things where, I mean, more people watched it than they watched the NBA Finals, which is on regular television. So that goes to show you the kind of access that people already have. I guess they would just have to see if it would make sense financially to pay for those. Like, we still haven't seen how this actually works out for them financially.
True.
Because if everybody already has it, and then you got to pay hundreds of millions of dollars to put it on, it's not like there was a bunch of people that probably signed up for Netflix just to get this fight.
True. Yeah.
But like you said, I mean, and they might be, you know, losing money with the upping their subscription later to be like, okay, now we're gonna have sports, and now the sports package is gonna be $30.
Yeah.
As opposed to 20. I think the highest one right now is like $21, something like that. So they've increased their prices over the course of time. So who knows from a business standpoint, you know, how profitable it actually was for them. But yeah, I think it definitely makes sense, you know, watching everything else on Netflix. So why not watch sports on Netflix?
Yeah. It also brings the ad revenue business model in, right? So if you watch Amazon Prime, which has exclusive rights to the NFL on Thursday, I mean, you're watching the game and just commercials are just running, and it's like normal TV until you realize, like, wait, I'm trying to change the channel and I can't. Yeah. So it's interesting in that point. I wonder if they had revenue from the gate. So I know they had. That
would be interesting. Yeah.
80,000, 85,000 people that were watching it live inside of Jerry World. That'd be interesting with the merchandise and what kind of splits they were given on that. So there's a few avenues inside there that they can definitely explore to find as another source of revenue.
And what an amazing job for them to crack down on the password sharing before they start to roll out these live events. God. Like, live streaming is on fire, and then they took one of the biggest influencers, put them on a platform, and 65 million. Shout to Kai for breaking the Twitch record, but 65 million views is crazy.
That password thing was crazy. They sent you the email like, hey, your password's been compromised, and then you changed it, and then the next day it's like, all right, well, there's no more password sharing. But that's one of those things where you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Disney, which is number 2 in the space, they watched the crackdown on password sharing. They saw the profit to the revenue go up for Netflix. 2 months later, all right, we're doing the same thing. And you just saw what they just reported last week, and you saw their earnings. So you don't have to reinvent the wheel. If someone's working on that side and you're in that space, all right, well, we're gonna try this as well.
Yeah.